and somehow the night absolutely spiraled out of control and into chaos. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or to it if this is the first time you are seeing my face. I really appreciate you clicking on it. I'm Jacy. I like to do story times on this channel, and today's story time is a doozy. It is going to be about the craziest subscriber interaction that I've ever had. So I won't do a long introduction. Let's just hop into the story because there is a lot to talk about because this one was wild. And Katie, if you're waiting for this video, here you go. All right, so first I need to give a little background because all of this will tie together, I promise. But this interaction happened in Portland, Oregon. I was taking a weekend trip with one of my best friends, Philip. Also, this is Philip.
Hi, I'm Philip.
Mainly because we wanted to go explore the Portland area. He was in the Pacific Northwest for a wedding, and we kind of just wanted to do a little friends trip. Now, at this time, Philip had just broken up with his girlfriend, so I was that friend to cheer him up, but also give him a super fun weekend out of town. So initially, our plan was to go onto the outskirts of Portland into like a cuter hipster neighborhood. We would go to coffee shops and maybe some live music. We both brought books to read because we just wanted like a chill weekend to initially start off. So we meet up in Portland and it's like a Thursday night and we're like, all right, what's there to do in this part of town? So we kind of just yelped things to do near us. And one of the things was actually a trivia night at this cider house. So we were like, all right, let's check out this cider night, maybe play some trivia and maybe meet some new people. We both love talking to new people. We're very outgoing. So we're like, all right, let's see what maybe locals we can meet to give us recommendations. I'd also like to note I do have a vlog on this entire trip in case it, I don't know, fills in any gaps, so you want to see some of the other things that I did, but I will be using B-roll from that as well. So trivia night. Philip and I walk into the cider house, and we kind of hear this commotion coming from the table behind us, and they seem to be playing some sort of card game. So we're just kind of watching them because they were loud and very vibrant. And finally we go over and we're like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, we're playing Slamwich. Do you want to hop in? And we're both like, what the heck is Slamwich? But absolutely. So we hop into this card game with this group of girls at the time, and we were just having a blast with them. We were kind of joking with them. We were playing the game for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then trivia started. So they said, oh, are you guys staying to play trivia? And we're like, yeah. And they said, well, why don't you join our trivia team? And we're like, sure. So we get started with trivia, and slowly more of their friends start trickling in, and we're asking them, how do you guys know each other? And they said, we're part of a run club here in Portland. We go for runs every Thursday, and we kind of have a tradition of coming to this trivia night right afterwards. So as more people are trickling in, there's probably about 10 to 12 of us both hanging out and playing trivia. And trivia was super fun. I'd like to note that we got third place out of 12 teams. We did have 12 players compared to like 3 for the other teams, but I was pretty proud of some of the trivia questions that I got. And so again, we're hanging out with this group. They have such a super fun party vibe, and they're like, you guys are so fun too. What are you doing tomorrow? And we're like, we don't really know. We have no plans. And they said, well, actually, Sean Kingston's in town and we're all going to his concert for like 20 bucks. You guys should come too. And so we said, that sounds amazing. We will see you guys there. So I grab all their numbers. We start coordinating for the next day. And as I'm leaving with Philip, he's kind of like, some of those girls were actually pretty cute. Maybe we can vibe with them over the weekend. And I was like, I don't know, they seem pretty fun, so let's do it. So we meet up with all of them at the Sean Kingston concert. And just a little side bit, this concert was so freaking fun. I didn't realize how many absolute bangers Sean Kingston had. He only did like 10 songs, but we knew all of them because he also sang some songs that he was featured on. But it was so fun. It was probably my first concert since the pandemic has started. And we were just dancing the whole time, singing as loud as we could, jumping up and down. It was absolutely so incredibly fun. Now, during this concert, there was a couple of new friends of this Portland group that trickled in. And Philip caught eyes with one of them and he was like, oh my gosh, that girl is so cute. I'm gonna talk to her. So throughout the night, Philip was kind of floating around talking to this girl. He was buying her a couple of drinks, getting to know her. And I guess at some point during the night, he tried to make a move and said, hey, I think you're really cute. Like, maybe I could get your number. What are you doing tomorrow night? And this girl kind of was like, oh, I didn't really know we were flirting. Like, I'm actually talking to somebody, so I'm not really interested in that. Sorry. And so Philip was like, ah, dang, no big deal. On to the next one, because next time I look over, Philip is making out with a whole new girl off to the side. And I was like, is that the same No, it's not the same girl. All right, Philip, he's going through a little rebound breakup phase, so you make out with as many people as you wanted to. So he gets that girl's number, but we end up going out for drinks with the rest of the group, and she didn't join us. So we head to a new bar, and we continue to play Slamwich in this bar, which is so funny, because it's just a silly little kids card game, but you know, there's some liquor flowing, all the vibes are really good, that we're being loud and boisterous, but we're having just the best time ever. You know, this group, it was one of those where we immediately clicked right away, and it was like, oh my gosh, if I was in Portland, I would be best friends with you guys, and I would be honored to be a part of your friend group. So they were like, well, what are you doing tomorrow? Because I guess the following day was market night in Portland. It's kind of one of those farmers markety food trucks and local vendors type of thing, but it only happens once a month and during these seasonal months. So they're like, yeah, everybody goes, so we'll meet up there and maybe do something fun afterwards. And again, we're having so much fun that we're like, heck yes, we'll see you tomorrow. So the following day, Philip and I decided we kind of wanted to do our own things and explore on our own, and then we'd meet up back at this market night. So I think Philip had texted that one girl he made out with, but plans fell through. They didn't end up hanging out. But I wanted to go check out some cute coffee shops, maybe explore a little bit, get some Instagram photos, because you guys know me, but I also wanted to go and journal and just kind of be on my own. So I go to this really cute coffee shop. It was a double-decker bus that had been converted into this coffee shop, and I believe all of the coffee was Turkish, so it was a little bit exotic. Again, a super cute location, and I was like, oh, let me just go there to journal for a little bit before I start my exploration. So this is where it gets interesting. All that backstory is very, very vital to this next part. I am in this double-decker bus. I am on the top level, and I'm just at a little table, and I'm writing. There are these two girls off to the other side of the bus, and I kind of noticed them like looking at me. Not like mad dogging me or anything, but it felt like they were kind of like kept looking my way, and I was like, oh God, I don't think I did my hair at this point. So I remember thinking like, oh, they don't like my hair. I don't know why. So all of a sudden, I hear, Jacy? And I look up and I'm like, yes. And there's this girl and she is visibly shaking. And I don't mean that sarcastically or lightly. She was actually shaking. And she goes, oh my gosh, this is so crazy, but I am literally watching your video right now. Because at that time I'd scheduled a video to go up. So it had just launched right then at noon. And I guess right as it launched, she had clicked on it. And there I walk into the exact same coffee shop. They said they were looking at me because they didn't believe that it was me in Portland, because being in LA is kind of my whole thing, that they had gone to my Instagram, they were checking my stories, and then they were also cross-checking my tattoos to confirm it was me. So I get up and I go over and I start talking to them because I'm a little stunned too. I've only been recognized once, but it was in LA by another local influencer, and we kind of run in the same circles. Yaritza, shout out. And so this was the first time I was being recognized by a subscriber, and I was like, oh God, like, what do I do in this situation? So I go over and I'm talking to them, and I was like, oh yeah, are you guys from Portland? So she was from Portland. The other girl was actually visiting her. So they were kind of doing the same thing of exploring the town for that day. And so I was just chit-chatting with them for a little bit. So while I've been in the bus, somebody came up to me and said that they were literally watching my video. So these are my new Portland friends. Okay, introduce yourselves.
I'm Katie.
I'm Asta.
Asta, and Asta's visiting to Portland as well right now, so I'm getting all their coffee recommendations, all that good stuff. I also haven't picked out my hair yet, so it looks weird. But just so funny that I came here and she was watching my video, so
yeah.
Appreciate the love. Yeah. And this girl's name was Katie, and she was so nice, so sweet, just kind of being very complimentary, but also like I was just chit-chatting, having a good time. So it was at this point I said, oh, let me get your Instagram and we can keep in touch in case I'm ever in Portland again. So I hand her my phone so she could type in her handle. And that's when she says, wait, that's weird. You follow a bunch of people that I know. And then she starts listing off all of these friends that I had just met in Portland. And I said, oh my gosh, no way. I've been hanging out with them all weekend. She says, oh my goodness, did you go to the Kingston concert last night with them? And I said, yes, oh my gosh, you do know them. So she says that she is also part of this run club. And my mind is blown. How did I meet another person from this dang run club in this super giant sprawling city? All right, it's not that big, but at the same time, how did I meet two different sections of this? So that's when I tell her, knowing that she's cool, that she's mutual with all these people, I was like, that's nuts. We're all actually going to market night tomorrow and then maybe out for drinks afterwards. You should totally come. And she was like, yes, absolutely. Like, I'll hang out with you, but I also know all these people, so it won't be super awkward. And so in my head, I'm thinking like, this is so crazy. And at this time, I was literally there to manifest in my journal. I was literally there saying like, oh, I just want like my YouTube career to take off. Like, I want to be successful in this and that. And this to me felt like some weird sign from the universe. This felt like, okay, this is what you're supposed to do next, because this is, I don't even know. I don't know what was going through my mind. But I remember I left that little double-decker coffee shop and I started crying because I remember saying, I'll have to see if I can find the clip. But in one of my videos, I said like, probably the first time I meet a subscriber in real life who recognizes me, I'll cry. Because that to me means I've made it, that I made an impact, that people like my content, and that's all the validation I need. The final things that I have pinned on my board for this is I just kind of want to be, how should I say this without sounding weird? I want to be recognized by an actual subscriber. I feel like that's how I know I've made a genuine impact, is if I am looking like this, like beat, and I'm grocery shopping and someone comes up to me and is like, oh my God, Jacy, like, I love your channel. Can I get a photo? That to me, I would probably cry. The first person to do that, I am absolutely crying, because that to me shows that my content is reaching a wider audience than I probably thought, and that people like me. I don't know, it's so weird to say, but I think that that would be very meaningful to me. So I think the day that somebody like recognizes me, tells me that they enjoy my content and wants like a photo with me, I don't know, that would just be really special and very memorable to me. So I wanted to include it on my vision board. And it was true, because I got so weirdly emotional that somebody recognized me that I think I like walked wherever I was going, just like crying and being so grateful. So that was really cool. But it kind of goes downhill from here. So now it's market night. I meet back up with Philip. We're checking out some of the food trucks until the rest of the group joins us. And Katie's the first one to join us. So we're chit-chatting with her. I remember my burger took like an hour from a food truck to make. So we're just hanging around this one food truck, waiting for my silly little burger. I get it, it gets busy, but I don't know, that was a little long. So we're hanging out, and then the rest of the group joins us. We're walking around market night. There was like a couple of girls who bought some earrings, another one who bought a wallet or something. I don't really know. So we're starting to get like a couple of drinks in us. We're having a good time. And after we were kind of done exploring market night, we're like, hey, why don't we go karaokeing? That sounds super fun. And at this point, Philip and I were just down for everything. We were having so much fun with them that we're like, karaoke sounds perfect. Let's go. So Katie says, hey, I haven't been drinking. I can drive a bunch of us down there and we can all meet up there. And so there were a couple of drivers, but we all piled into Katie's car and headed to this karaoke bar. So we get to this karaoke bar, and again, Philip is like, some of these girls are cute. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll flirt them up while we're karaokeing and singing out loud to Miley Cyrus. And I was like, Philip, you do your thing, I'm proud of you. So again, Katie at this time, she was mutuals with everyone. So I didn't feel the need to like babysit her or make sure she was comfortable, because to me, I was the guest. So it was kind of like, I'm already vibing with people, but she can kind of go off onto her own devices. So I didn't really see her for this section of the night. We're karaokeing and crushing it. This bar was so fun because there were so few people in there that our group kind of took over. And it felt like a group karaoke session, We'd hop on stage, sing with them. We're all pretty inebriated at this point, so we're screaming at the top of our lungs. It was so fun. I need to look up synonyms for fun, because that's the only way I can feel like I can describe it, but it was just stinking fun, okay? Oh, I just hit 10,000 steps. Nice. That little jolt of energy really pushed me over the edge. So I'm just hanging out, and that's when Philip comes up to me and he says, hey, I just want to let you know that Katie and I just made out outside. And I was like, oh, Philip, not Katie. Like, Katie's my subscriber. She's my invite. Like, yeah, go ahead and have your fun. But like, why Katie? They had just met. But again, I was in the mindset of like, all right, have your fun. She was probably having a good time too. New fresh blood, fresh meat in the group. It was whatever. So then they share a little plate of chili cheese fries, whatever it was. They're kind of off in the corner being cuddly, because, when you make out with somebody in a bar, you're thinking like, all right, well, I guess you're the person I'm hanging out with for the rest of the night. So that's when, after like, I don't know how long, Philip comes up to me and he goes, hey, I think I made a mistake making out with Katie, because now she's kind of latched herself onto me, but I'm actually more interested in Lizzie over there. And I was like, Philip, you're kind of of making the rounds here, but it's the same friend group. I don't think she's gonna wanna be now the third person you've made out with within this friend group. But again, go shoot your shot. But you have to tell Katie, because that is gonna be mad shitty of you if she sees you just making out with another girl and completely ditching her. And so he was like, all right, you're right. I'll go let her know. So at this point, I see them chit-chatting, you know, he's letting her down easy. And I'm just trying to stay out of it. Again, I was decently tipsy at this point. I wasn't very drunk because I was like, uh-oh, this group is getting turned. This group is getting wild. And now I have a little bit of drama going on over here. So maybe I should lay off the shots for a little bit and just kind of babysit for a little bit. So I'm like standing off to the side, singing along to whoever's singing. And that's when Katie comes up to me and she goes, how are you doing? And I said, good. And she goes, that's good. I'm not. And I was like, all right, he did not let her down easy. So I said, oh, what's going on? She goes, well, your friend and I just made out outside. And right afterwards, he told me that he wants to go make out with another girl. So I just don't really understand. Like, I don't really know what's going on. And then she kind of switches the script and goes, but it's cool. I let him know, oh, you want to make out with her? She's my bud. She's my friend. Let me wingman for you. And so that's when I'm thinking like, oh, she's cool. She's fine. Like, she is just letting me know what's up. But you can kind of tell because at this point she was decently drunk that I was like, she's trying to let on that she's okay with it, that she's cool. She's totally fine with it. But she keeps talking about it. And she keeps being like, yeah, like he just wants to make out with her. And, you know, we were over there sharing a plate of chili cheese fries. So that's kind of weird, right? That he would just ditch me but it's cool. Like, I'm going to go wingman for him. You know, just dancing around the fact that it did kind of bother her. Hi friends, editing me here because I forgot a big part of the story, so I'm gonna insert it here. But after Philip and Katie's little breakup, Katie actually did hold true to her word and went to go wingman for Philip. So she goes up to this Lizzie girl and says, hey, Philip over there thinks that you're pretty cute and he's kind of interested in you. Would you be interested in him? However, Philip sees her talking to Lizzie and he's thinking, oh my gosh, she's trying to sabotage me or she's talking crap about me. Because again, at this point, he kind of had to let her down easy and she seemed a little upset. So he didn't think she was actually wingmanning for him. So he goes and grabs her and kind of accuses her of talking crap. And he's like, why would you go and tell Lizzie my business? Like, what is going on? And Katie's trying to say like, no, I was telling her that you were interested. Like I was trying to wingman for you. There was just a big miscommunication between the two of them. And I get both sides because I understand why Katie would be upset that she made out with this guy and then he would kind of leave her for another girl. But at the same time, wanted to be cool and understanding that, you know, it's just a crazy night out. I'll still wingman for you. But then I also get Philip's perspective where he had to tell this girl that he wasn't interested anymore. And initially she was kind of upset about it. So seeing her talking to the girl he was interested, I can understand why his thought process would be, oh, this isn't going to go well. This is only going to cause more drama. But in kind of that confrontation, it did start a little bit of more drama. And at this point, I'm just off to the side, karaokeing, still having a good time because I see them bickering, but I'm like, they're adults. They can figure it out. It's going to be okay from here. Now, it was at this point where Philip was gone. I couldn't find Philip, but the girl he was interested in was right over here. So I was like, all right, he's not with this girl. Where is Philip? So I go outside and I see Philip with somebody on the ground. There's like a body on the ground. And I'm like, what's going on? It was one of our friends from this group puking his brains out onto the ground. He was straight up laying down on the concrete, on his side, on one arm, projectile vomiting. And I'm like, what is going on? And Philip is like, I don't know. I just ended up babysitting this guy because he just started puking and I'm trying to get him to sit up, but he is not doing it. And so I'm like, okay, we'll keep him on his side. That's the best thing as long as you don't lay on your back because that's bad news. So I tell him like, hey, you can go back inside. I'll take this shift of watching this guy and making sure that he's safe. Because again, he's lying on the concrete on the ground next to these dumpsters that I just want to make sure he's safe. But I was also just so over what was going on. It was also at this point I asked Philip like, hey, did you settle that drama? You didn't let her down easy because she's kind of upset. And he says, oh, I let her down easy. She said she would wingman for me. But I did go up to Lizzie, this other girl, and I let her know that I thought she was cute. She kind of reciprocated that she thought he was cute too. But then she was also like, I saw you make out with everybody else. Am I just next in line? Like, I'm not that interested. Sorry. So nothing ended up happening there. But Philip, you a dog. You tried with everyone in that group. That's impressive. So that's when Katie comes back out. And she's still kind of talking about it. Now, at this point, Katie watches my channel. She is a subscriber. She knows that I do these story times. And I asked, Katie, would you like to be in a story time? And she says, yes, I would love to be the subject of a Jacy Aaron story time. So that's when I pull out my phone and I say, all right, Katie, tell me what happened tonight. And that's when I got this clip.
Where do I start?
Start it from what my friend told you at the club.
So me and your friend made out a few times, and then I came back, and then I was like, want to make out more? And he was like, no, because I want to make out with this girl named Lizzie, who I've had my eye on for 3 days from trivia night. And I was like, okay, I mean, I know her kind of well because I've known her since I moved here. Yeah, like, I'll be your wingman, go for it. And then I talked to her because I was like next to her, and he was flipping his shit. He was just like, why'd you tell her everything I knew you would? And I was like, oh, like, you know, I've known her for 3 years, like, chill. And I was like, also, I'm doing you a favor, like, because you're not going for it. So I told her, kind of, but then he left. He came back, and then she came back, and I was like, yeah, that guy wants to make out with you.
Now, can we just take a moment to kind of admire my cinematography of getting Katie's story, but then also that poor boy puking in the background? I was flabbergasted. I was like, this cannot be real life. What is happening? This night turned into pure chaos and a shit show. So it's 2 a.m, bar kicks us out, and our large group is trying to leave, and we're just like, that was rough. But now all of our forms of transportation are too drunk to drive. Katie was lit at this point. She was well aware that she was not okay to drive. But what's also hilarious is that there was one sober person of the rest of the group who was trying to drive the rest of the group. And this group was so lit. So here is another clip where we are just trying to get them to the car. They are leaning on us. We are holding them up, trying to make sure they aren't falling while we get them to the car. They make it towards the car, but then everybody just splats out. There's bodies on the floor. Everyone's just taking a little break, chilling out, because it was gonna take some time to get those drunkies back into the car. So Philip and I, dead sober at this point. We had realized this night has gone to shit. We had stopped drinking, but Katie, we had to make sure that this guy that she called at 2 a.m. was going to safely pick her up and that everything was okay. So she's sitting down. We're all kind of just laughing about the night. At this point, Philip and Katie, they were chit-chatting and kind of letting bygones be bygones because it was such a crazy night, but it was also like, wow, what a night to remember out in Portland, Oregon. Crazy, right? So before Katie's guy comes to pick her up, I say, listen, I might make this a story time someday. I might not. Can I just get you on camera consenting to this? So that's when I got both of their consent. In here is that clip.
Katie with a C. Jacy, you can post me on your YouTube channel and not blur my face.
All
like,
right.
I'm totally comfortable with that.
All right. And Philip, blurred face or not?
No blurred face.
No blurred face.
No
Philip!
blurred face. I don't care. Go for it.
So Katie gets picked up, heads home. I go over to the car of the other group because they had finally gathered everybody into the back seats and they were ready to go home. I go to the driver who was sober at this point and I just said, I'm so sorry. I feel like we caused all the drama. I feel like we turned your fun night into a shit show. And they were like, don't worry about it. This happens all the time. We're always getting drunk, having a good time. Half of these people won't even remember tomorrow. And I was just like, thank goodness, because I felt so bad that we were just these two strangers who came in and caused all this chaos, but they were totally fine. So as an epilogue to this crazy, crazy weekend in Portland, I am still Instagram friends with all of those people. We are still commenting on each other's things, so they totally forgave me for all of the nonsense and shenanigans. I actually hung out with one of them recently in person. I went to San Francisco. One of them had also just recently moved there. We hung out, and so that was such a great time as well. And it's just one of those things that we look back and laugh on, but I still look at that weekend as one of the best weekends I've had all year. It went in a totally different direction than Philip and I had thought it would go, but it was so incredibly memorable that I'm grateful that all of it happened. So Katie, if you're watching this, thanks for not only a memorable story, but also one of the most memorable weekends I had all 2022. So I appreciate that. But that's gonna be it of this crazy subscriber interaction. Again, it started from just a sweet little recognition to a full night of drunken shenanigans. But again, a night I'll never forget. So thank you guys so much for listening to this story time. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up so I can go out and make new story times and new crazy memories. And if you aren't already subscribed and you enjoyed this, consider subscribing because I have more interesting story times coming your way. But thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Toodles! Doesn't it look like there should be more polka dots right here? Like the next polka dots start down here, but I feel like I'm just highlighted right here. Oh, but then it'd probably look like nipples, so I don't know. We'll keep the current polka dots.